and thanks for joining me on Sport Pilot James Glory on another exciting episode of Sport Vibe on DNT World, where we bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sport, as is our tradition to do so every Tuesday. This week won't be an exception, so I would indulge you. So please stay tuned because we'll be right back shortly after this break.
JK Royal City.
Welcome back to our darling viewers, and starting from the African Cup of Nations that was concluded over the weekend, where we saw Senegal lifting the trophy on the home soil of Morocco, defeating the host country also in the finals that appears to be quite dramatic at the latter end of the competition. You know that Morocco made it to the finals, defeating Nigeria on a penalty shootout, while Senegal were also able to book their place in the Sunday encounter after defeating Egypt. But it was a great one for the Senegal team, being able to gather momentum, showing courage, and defeating the host country Morocco on Sunday on their home soil, denying them their tournament. And this means that Morocco have to continue to wait after missing out of the African Cup of Nations yet again. This 50 years and counting for Morocco, because the last time they won the African Cup of Nations, as you know, is in the year 1976. They have failed to win that, but they had the chance to win it at the latter stage of the match, where Diaz decided to go for a Panenka, where Mendy was also equal to the task to pull the game to extra time, where Senegal were eventually able to find the back of the net against an incredible keeper in the name of Bounou. Was unable to stop that particular one for Pepe, and this means that they were crowned the champion of the African continent, winning that tournament for the second time in their history. Senegal were able to win the African Cup of Nations, if you remember very well, in the year 2021, and the second one in the year 2025, denying Morocco the chance of winning the African Cup of Nations on their home soil. And in that particular competition, you know that Morocco automatically came second after failing to lift the trophy. Nigeria at the third place between them and Egypt were able to win on a penalty shootout to win the bronze medal for the 9th time in the history of the competition. The Egyptian, in the person of Mohamed Salah, continues to wait for his first medal when he talk about the African Cup of Nations golden medal in the world of football. An interesting outing at the African Cup of Nations as it was brought to an end. We saw the player of the tournament being given to Sadio Mané, the Senegalese, and we also saw the highest goal scorer going to the Moroccan player, where we talk about Brahim Diaz, as he scored most goals among every other players in the competition. The goalkeeper of the tournament also went to Bounou. You can't take that away from him after saving a crucial shot against Senegal in the finals. You would remember that he made some vital save when it comes to penalty shootout against Nigeria also, and as such, he has been awarded the keeper of the tournament. Interesting one for him, and congratulations to him. As we switch our attention to European football, starting from the Spanish La Liga, as we saw Barcelona drop points against 10-man Real Sociedad and losing their grip at the top of the table. The points between Barcelona and Real Madrid has been narrowed to 1 point in the Spanish La Liga. You remember that Real Madrid won Levante, and this gives them an advantage ahead of the match between Barcelona and Real Sociedad. And Real Sociedad did Real Madrid a favor by getting the maximum points against them, even after going 10 man down in the Spanish La Liga. Interesting one till the end of the Spanish La Liga. Will Real Madrid be able to put up the momentum with Barcelona, as you know that they are out of the Copa del Rey and they need to do everything it takes to win the Spanish La Liga if they are going to stop the dominance of Barcelona in world football. And also talking about football, we travel down to the Italian Serie A, talking about Inter Milan, who were able to get a crucial win against Udinese to maintain their spot at the top of the Serie A table. Interesting for them. They continue to show momentum and they'll be hoping that they'll be able to win the Italian Serie A this time around. AC Milan are not giving up without a fight also, as the points between them and Inter Milan is just 3 points. Napoli also sitting in the third position at the Italian Serie A. An interesting outing in the Italian Serie A. But quickly, let's switch our attention to the Premier League, where we witnessed so many blockbuster games over the weekend. But quickly, let's go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we continue from where we stop. Welcome back, and continuing from where we stopped, starting from the Premier League. I said we witnessed some blockbuster game in the Premier League. We start from the Manchester derby between Manchester United and Manchester City. We all have thought that Manchester City would defeat Manchester United, but Manchester United has shown to us that they have all what it takes to fight in big matches, defeating Manchester City 2-0 in a match that could have been an humiliating one for the blue side of Manchester. Thanks for the VAR and the offside goals being scored by Manchester United that made the goals narrow down to 2-0 victory against Manchester City. Manchester City in the year 2026 are yet to pick up a maximum point in the Premier League, as Arsenal continues to extend their lead with 7 points at the top of the Premier League table. Manchester City losing points and Manchester United gaining momentum ahead of their Premier League match against the league leaders Arsenal in the Premier League. Will Arsenal suffer a defeat to Manchester United in their next meeting, where they'll be meeting next weekend in the Premier League? But talking about the just concluded competition in the Premier League over the weekend, we saw Nottingham Forest holding Arsenal to a goalless draw, and this means that Arsenal lost out of the chance of extending their lead to 9 points at the top of the Premier League table. And also, you would like to know that the top 4 in the Premier League over the weekend failed to get the maximum points. Where we talk about Arsenal drawing, we saw Aston Villa being defeated by Everton 1-0. We saw Manchester City being defeated by Manchester United 2-0, and also Liverpool failed to get a point against the relegation struggling side Burnley in the Premier League, a match that ended 1-0 apiece between Burnley and Liverpool. And this means that Manchester United, with a win against Manchester City, and Newcastle and the likes of Brentford failing to win, are sitting at the 5th position in the Premier League, followed closely by Chelsea and Brentford sitting in the 7th position. Crystal Palace also over the weekend failed to win. You know that they have sold their defender to Manchester City, and could this propel Manchester City to fight for the Premier League to the end of the competition in the world of football? Fingers crossed, as we see how far Michael Carrick also will be able to take Manchester United in the season. Remember that the only competition left for Manchester United this season is the Premier League. A sad one for them. A team of such caliber only playing in the Premier League. The least they could do for their fans is to qualify for the UEFA Champions League. And talking about the UEFA Champions League, definitely it is back, and we'll be witnessing it tonight in the world of football. We'll be seeing Inter Milan taking on Arsenal Football Club. Will Arsenal be able to bounce back to win their next game against Inter Milan? You know, Inter Milan are coming with a win against Udinese to face Arsenal Football Club. But Arsenal Football Club, after a draw with Nottingham Forest, will they be able to get a win in the UEFA Champions League? Also, in the UEFA Champions League night, we'll be seeing Sporting taking on Paris Saint-Germain in the game that is going to be a great one to watch. You know that tactically these teams are an attacking team in the world of football. And also, we're seeing Real Madrid taking on Monaco in the UEFA Champions League. Will they be able to continue to win under their new manager and their former player in the world of football? And also talking about the UEFA Champions League, we'll be seeing Tottenham Hotspur taking on Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League night. Tottenham Hotspur has been in a poor form as they couldn't get a win against West Ham in the Premier League. Will they be able to do that against the Bundesliga side Borussia Dortmund? And this is the length at which we'll be going on this week's episode of Sport Vibe on DNT Work. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media handles at Sport Vibe on DNT Work. Remain a law-abiding citizen. Enjoy your week. Thank you.